If you've got an older Ram between 03 and 05, you already know the headlights aren't very great. In this video, I'm going to show you guys what V4s look like in them compared to stock and how to install them. Let's head to the garage and get started. So we got our 2004 Ram pulled in the shop right now, and the first step is just to open the hood. And I'll say this, newer Rams, you got to take the grill off and everything like that, and you got to do so much work to get the headlights out, and these are a welcome break from that. All you got to do here, we got 2 bolts right here, we got 1 down below, and this headlight's going to pop out. You need a 10mm socket and an extension. And then we've got 1 just down below here. Be very careful not to drop that bolt. Usually it'll hit the ground, but you never know. Now, all that's holding this headlight in is this little plastic piece here. And if you just use a Phillips screwdriver, sometimes it'll turn out on its own. Sometimes it'll just like kind of sit there and spin like this. If that happens to you, reach from the backside and just pinch the plastic together, and it should come right out. And then you can just push it out, and there we go. Now, we're finally ready to remove this headlight from the truck. One thing to consider, it's a used truck, it's an older truck, but it's in pretty good shape, and the bumper's painted and it looks fine, it's not scratched up or anything. The last thing I want to do is add a scratch to it right now when we're in here upgrading headlights. So what I'm going to do is just throw a little piece of tape across that, because there are some plastic pieces hanging below the headlight, and the last thing I want to do is leave a big gouge here. So, just something like that. And the headlight should just pop right out toward you. We can finally remove the headlight from the vehicle. Go ahead and disconnect the harness for the headlight bulb itself, and twist the turn signal and remove it from the truck. Now the headlight can be brought to the bench. All right, so we got our headlight out of the truck now, and we're ready to upgrade to LED. Today we're going to be using the V4 bulbs, and honestly, out of all the options out there, this is one of the only bulbs that'll actually give you a decent beam pattern without a ton of glare to oncoming traffic. The ultimate upgrade for these headlights would be a new set of lenses, a new assembly, and probably a projector retrofit. That's just the honest truth. These headlights weren't great from the factory, and if a beam pattern sucks from the factory, there's not a ton we can do about it by just replacing a light bulb. It's the way it is. But what we can do is just brighten it up a little bit, get a few more years out of it. This guy tows at night. We're going to try to brighten the road up for him. So remove your bulb just like so. I did that a little quick for you, so I'll walk you through it. But ultimately, there's a little lock ring here. This is what it's going to look like when you get it out of the truck. And it is as simple as twisting it counterclockwise, removing the ring. We will need this, so don't throw it away, and pulling the bulb out of the headlight assembly. You're going to have an additional box in your shipment that has the GTR lighting CAN bus adapter for your vehicle. What this will do is it'll prevent flickering, bulb out warnings, strobing, stuff that you read about on the Ram forums all the time with cheaper bulbs, and that's the last thing you want to do. You don't want to take your truck apart twice. These two components together will give you no trouble. And we sell them as a vehicle specific kit. You can find them right on our website. The first thing you need to do is take the supplied Allen wrench and remove this collar from the bulb. Loosen it up just like that. This bolt is pretty tiny here, so don't drop it into the headlight, don't lose it. If you're working in a messy shop, make sure you don't drop it. Take the collar off. Take your locking ring and install it over the bulb just like this, and then put the collar back on. And if this info isn't quite detailed enough for you, or you're not totally sure what I'm doing, we've got a video that is exclusively on the 9004 9007 bulb type, which is what your truck has. It goes deep into how to get this done. If you buy a different bulb, it shows you how to install those. Today we're doing the V4, and this is how you get these installed. Take your little screw here, put it back in. Make sure the screw goes in straight. Last thing you want to do is cross thread this. You don't need to go super tight with it. It is a small Allen head screw. The last thing you want to do is strip it out. This is what it looked like. This is what it should look like when it's all done. Now you can bring it back to the headlight. Press it in and lock it into place. Make sure all the tabs went under the screw heads just like it did from the factory. Make sure the bulb's in there nice and secure. You want the wiring exiting the bottom. That means that the bulb is in there vertically with the chips pointing horizontally. That'll give you the best beam pattern possible. And at this point, it's a great time to plug in your CAN bus adapter. Clicks in real nice, and this plug goes to the vehicle wire harness. That's all there is to it. At this point, we can put the headlight back in the vehicle, plug this in like so. You can zip tie this wiring up. What I like to do before I button it up completely is get the headlight in, hop back in the truck and just power it up, make sure everything works just fine, make sure there's no flickering. Yeah, if I'm gonna have any trouble, I'd rather find out before I put the bulbs back in, or the bolts back in rather. Put the turn signal in like so. And I'm just going to rest the headlight in here and go test it out. As you can see, they work just fine. Now, at this point, I'm going to run over to the studio and we'll pull this truck in, shoot it against the drywall and see just how much brighter these are compared to stock, give you guys some lux numbers, and see what the beam pattern looks like too. So let's get over there. So this is what our factory low beam looked like, and this came out at 140 lux. That's your usable light output that we're trying to measure here from about 20 feet from our wall. Now, 140 lux, we've seen fog lights brighter than that here at Headlight Revolution. 140 is not going to help you out at night. And one important thing to note before we get to the V4 is, as you can see, this is a pretty messy beam pattern factory. Unfortunately, swapping bulbs does not necessarily make your beam pattern better, but what we're going to try to do is brighten it up without creating a ton of glare for oncoming traffic. So let's see what the Supernova V4 looks like installed in this truck. Now, the V4 low beam came out at 760 lux, which compared to 140, almost 6 times brighter. That is a tremendous upgrade. As you can see, we kept the beam pattern nice and tight. We've got 2 identifiable hot spots, and we don't have a ton of glare above those for any oncoming traffic. This is going to be a really drivable beam pattern. This is what the low beam looks like. This is what you're going to drive with most of the time, 95% of the time. And as you can see, the V4s are a tremendous upgrade for this truck. Honestly, the best thing you could do for this truck is a brand new set of headlights and a projector retrofit and all that. But honestly, to just bump up the brightness a little bit and not produce a ton of glare to oncoming traffic, we did a pretty good job. If you need anything else for these older Rams, we've got you covered. Reverse lights, cargo lights, taillights, you name it. Visit our website, headlightrevolution.com.